Hello again and welcome to another edition of Shed Talk, my weekly magazine video series looking at the keeping, breeding and showing of cage birds with a special focus on the exhibition style budgerigar. So in this episode what I want to do is talk a little bit about the work that I've got going on in both of the sheds. So just in terms of reorganisation, I suppose, both in here, the main budgerigar shed, and outside in the Fifes and Fifes site. So we'll talk a bit about that. The other thing we'll do is we'll get an update from the Oxford 1910 show. So there's the showing bit of the series, I suppose. So we'll get an update from the Oxford 1910 Cage Bird Society Young Bird Show, and we'll also have an update on whether we've been successful with the zebras. You may remember we put some nest boxes in the zebra flight and there was some indication that they were going to nest. So that's what we got for this episode. As always, if you do enjoy the show, don't forget to hit the like button, do comment, and of course don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and for early notifications then hit the bell. Well, with the breeding in here come to a close and most of the breeding cages now empty, it gives me a chance to think and to, I suppose, just do a real big tidy up in here and a bit of a clean out. And there's been a couple of areas that have been really bugging me over the last I suppose 6 to 8 months whilst the breeding's been going on, well, almost since just around this time last year. The first thing is the area that is behind the new wooden breeding cages that I'm currently using for a stock cage. So the area behind that was being used as a bit of a store, probably more of a bit of a dumping ground for old bits and pieces of equipment, which meant it was very difficult to get behind there to clean up. And you may have noticed in some of the videos there was a few cobwebs behind there, and I was struggling to get those cleaned. So I'm beginning at the moment to try and sort that area out, and my intention, and we'll have a look, I will spin round and you can have a look at that. So my intention is to clear that area, the area behind that, and then push everything back. So in effect there's less room behind there for bits of bibs and bobs. The breeding cages will go back. It will give me a bit more space in the front of it, and it will mean that I can get to the back of there a bit easier and make sure that it's kept reasonably clean and tidy. It also then gives me a bit more access to other areas, I think. As with all these things, it may be just that I'm moving things around rather than making more space, but that's my intention. I've cleared everything out behind there, and at the moment I just need to get my son to give me a hand to move the main stock cage back, and then we'll have another think about what that looks like. The other reason for doing that is, you remember this year, this breeding season, at the end of the breeding season I said I didn't want to use the wooden cages as breeding cages. I didn't like the way they worked and the difficulty in getting in there and clearing them out. So that means that I would be back down to just 6 of the all wire cages. So my intention, once I've moved that back, is to allow myself to get a bit more space to add at least 2, if not somewhere between 2 and 4. So 2 minimum, 4 maximum, more wire breeding cages for the budgerigar breeding. I think I'm going to go for 2. That'll give me 8 breeding cages, and this year I had 10, but there were a number of times when I had birds not breeding at all in them. Well, I had them breeding in there, but they weren't producing anything. So I think 8 for the time being. I may go up to 10. A lot will depend on finances at the moment about what that looks like. So once I've moved those back, it'll give me more room for the all wire cages. So that's really in here. So the main focus is clearing it out of the back so it makes it easier to clean, and give myself a bit more room for some more breeding cages. It does mean at the moment in here, you probably can't see it from where I'm talking to you, but at the moment in here everything's in a bit of a shambles. So there's show cages all over the place, there's boxes being moved around, everything looks a little bit, I don't know, out of place and untidy more than anything else. Not totally convinced it's disturbing the birds too much, but I don't know. So there we are, that's currently what is going on in here. What we'll do now is we'll nip out to the outside flight, have a look at my plans out there and what I'm thinking about out there, but also have a look at the zebras. While I'm making my way out there, why don't you have a look at the birds that were at the Oxford 1910 Cage Bird Society Young Bird Show. So I do hope you enjoyed that little look at Oxford 1910. How did I get on? Well, unfortunately, I had a bit of a disaster the night before, so I was just loading the car up, my car up with everything ready to put the cages in the morning, so I was getting everything ready, all prepared to go, and unfortunately I discovered that the battery was completely flat on my car, which meant I had no way of getting the birds to the show horse. So I actually just loaded all of the stuff that I needed to put as the show manager into a big rucksack and had to carry it over there. So that of course meant I didn't manage to enter any birds, didn't manage to get the Fifes out for the first time on the bench to see how they were looking in comparison, and didn't manage to get any of the young birds and any of the adult birds out either. So you know, I had a bit of practice, I suppose, getting the birds ready and all the rest of it, but a real disappointment in terms of not being able to get some birds entered in that show. Big congratulations to the winners. So congratulations to Bob McCabe on his lovely young bird budgerigar that he entered there, that we saw in the video, and of course another big congratulations to Bob Honey on taking the best unflighted Fife. So hopefully a few more shows coming up. We're right in the middle of, or right at the start of the show season, so I should be able to get some birds out for a few more shows, or some of the other shows. I've managed to get the car fixed for just out of interest. And of course it was nice to see some of our viewers at the show, so thank you for those who came up to me at the show. I know there's lots of people who watch the various videos, so thank you again for that. So in here then, in the Finch and Fife flight, first of all I'll talk about, as I did out in the budgerigar flight, about what we've got planned in here. So the main thing I need to get sorted out in here is to get the remaining 2 wire cages, which actually will be split into 4 wire cages, set up and find room for them to go. I have some views on what that will look like, but at the moment it does mean moving some stuff around. This flight out here is only 6x6, so it's quite a small area to try and work in, and most of it at the moment is taken up with this rather large flight, so I need to think about whether I want to change that around as well, but that would be a major piece of work probably for later on in the summer. Maybe once I've got the budgerigars back down breeding again, we can think about completely redoing this shed in terms of what it looks like. But that will be for a later episode. So the main thing is to get some more of the wire cages in here. I've got some more wire cages. They're slightly different to the ones that we've got them in at the moment, but they will do for the young birds to go into, the young Fifes to go into for their molt out. So what about the zebras then? Well, not really sure on the zebras at the moment. We've got some nesting material in 2 of the nest boxes that we will take a look at now. So you can see here the main nest box, which is the one furthest away, has a very nicely built nest inside it, and I've seen both a cock and a hen going into there. Cockbird spends a little while in there. Hen, I've seen what I thought she was sitting, because she was spending a little while and poking her head out the top of it. I didn't manage to get any clips of that, but quite clearly she hasn't laid, and there is no sign of any eggs. There's no real, over the last week in particular, I've hardly seen the hen in there at all, and certainly the cockbird is not going in there as much as he used to. So it looks as if we may have left it a little bit too late for the zebra finches, and because both the other 2 nest boxes, as you can also see, are now completely empty. So all the nesting material that was in those has been moved into that single nest box. So I don't know, maybe we left it a little bit too late. I'm going to give them about another week or 2, probably at least another 2 weeks. If we don't have anything by then, I'm going to remove the nest boxes from then, from inside there, give them another clean out, and perhaps we'll wait until next year and see what happens then. I might need to get a few more zebras and maybe stock up on some of the other finches as well if I get a chance. And again, as I said at the beginning, around the the breeding cages for the budgerigars, if finances allow. So there we are in terms of the Fifes. There no real update on the sorry, there's an update from the zebras, no real update from the Fifes. We will take a look at those, at some of the youngsters, the latest set of youngsters in the next episode, but really it's just business as usual for them at the moment. All the youngsters are fully weaned, or the second round youngsters are fully weaned, so we don't have a problem there. We're just working now to split them all up. So there we go, that's it from out here in the Fife and zebra flight. Well, before we go, I just thought I'd take a quick look at this bird that is currently in one of the breeding cages. Only it's not breeding, it's in there because it's a hen that has got a bit old, and you can see that she's not in the greatest of condition, but she was being harassed in the main flight by a whole load of cockbirds, and I think she was struggling to feed and get to water just because she was constantly being harassed. I took her out of there and popped her in with the young birds initially, thinking that that would be fine. However, I found that a lot of the hens that were in there ended up chasing her around and just generally picking on her a little bit. So I think because she looks, she's got old and she looks a bit vulnerable, I suspect this is just something that goes on in the wild as well, and particularly she has nowhere to hide in either of the two flights. So I took her out and popped her into one of the cages just to give her some peace and quiet. If she recovers a little bit, I might put her back in, but otherwise I think she'll probably spend her time in there or in one of the other cages and see out the end of the day in there. So I just thought I'd show you her before we go, just to let you know some of the other stuff that's going on there. Let me know, what do you do when you've got a bird that's getting to that stage where it's getting a bit old and looks like it's struggling in the main flight? I suppose I could euthanize her, but can't really bring myself to do that. Just me perhaps. Anyway, that is just about all we've got time for in this episode. Hopefully by the time the next episode comes around, we'll have a look at what I've done in here in terms of sorting it out and clearing up. We'll be a bit more tidier in here, and I will hopefully also have done a bit more work out in the finch and Fife flight. But until then, as always, if you enjoy the episode, hit the like, don't forget to subscribe, and of course do stay safe and enjoy your birds.